And welcome into the Tuesday edition, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Tuesday morning, live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Home with the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar. Joseph, good morning. How are you?
I mean, I'm fine.
I'm not.
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
I didn't see it, but people are mad at you. Are not the only person in the world mad at Matt LaFleur.
People have joined.
So there you go.
A lot of Packers fans very upset at Matt LaFleur last night, and now he's getting asked about his job. So good stuff. It's Safar. How we doing? What's going on?
Good morning. Doing good, thanks. Stayed up to watch that game.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was pretty much, I don't know. Buck said it during the broadcast. It was an entertaining 0-0 game at halftime. I agree with that for the most part. It was a back and forth. The offenses were moving the ball and then some turnovers. Both defenses played well, but yep, 10-7. But good for my pick.
It is interesting. The Thursday night football game was 10-7. Now the Monday night football game, you book in the week.
I heard
with
SVP
10-7.
say that actually after the game. He said, yeah.
That's what the folks are looking for.
So how about that?
Yeah,
more 10-7 games.
Gross.
Yeah,
I watched some of that one. I hope this one was better than that one.
I think it was probably better than that one, but still, just not very good. So hopefully Matt LaFleur gets fired at some point. We'll see how that goes the rest of the year.
Someone asked him about his job. So there you go.
Yeah, Schneidman, athletic, getting to the bottom of it.
Athletics all over him.
Capital J journalism going on up there.
Go. What was LaFleur's response to that?
The same stuff. It always. I feel like you're always coaching for your job in this league. Well, good for you, buddy, because you're not going to have one much longer. You're 5-3-1. That roster losses to Carolina and Cleveland. Give me a break.
Vrabel lost Carolina too. I just want to say, Coach of the Year, Vrabel.
He did, and he's 8-2 with that roster,
and he's still wondering, man, LaFleur got the Packers job?
Yeah. Wow, how about that? That's amazing that went down that way. We got a lot going on the program here today. David Ubben from The Athletic will be with us at 8 o'clock. We will get into some college football, some Vanderbilt college football playoff talk with David Ubben a little bit later in the show as well. We got the Rob Rant at 7:45. We will get hot and heavy into the Predators in the 7 o'clock hour, including a trade idea that was thrown out there. And another loss for the Predators last night, which has people screaming about the head coach. And we will get into that coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. Joe, let's begin on the NFL front. So Brian Callahan fired earlier this year. Seems like forever ago at this point, but it wasn't that long ago. And now you can add another Brian to the list. Brian Daboll fired yesterday by the New York Giants. His tenure has come to an end. We knew heading into the year, Joe, that he was going to be on the hot seat. They lose this past weekend, and that was all she wrote for Brian Daboll with the New York Giants. So now we'll see, number one, another head coaching position that's open. So if you're the Titans, you look around, it's not just you anymore. You got another head coaching position that's open, and another rookie quarterback in Jackson Dart that is now dealing with a pretty immediate coaching change in his career. So what did you make of the news that Daboll is out with the New York Giants? And how do you think that affects Jackson Dart as he moves forward?
Yeah, well, also I will throw in, here's another. I don't know, I don't think really a good head coaching candidate for the Titans, but here's another. Could this be the OC with this particular head coach thing for the Titans? I did see, actually, I saw some Bills Mafia Twitter saying, bring him home, which is interesting because I thought everybody loved Joe Brady. But I guess right after a 30-13 loss to Miami, I guess people are like, hey, actually, we'll take Daboll back. It's funny the other day watching the Giants-Bears game, which Greg Olson just ridiculoly relegated to the Giants-Bears game because he's the best analyst of the business. But he absolutely hammered Daboll for, 4th and 1, kicking a field goal. And it's like, you're up a touchdown, go up 2 touchdowns, or pin them at the one. They've done nothing on offense all day. And he ended up being exactly right. You kick the field goal, Bears come down, score, they score another touchdown, you lose. And I'm assuming that was kind of critical in the decision finally being made. But yeah, here's another rookie quarterback who is going to have a coaching change. Makes me want to like kind of go through some of the great quarterbacks, like Peyton Manning, for example. He had one, right? I mean, I don't know when exactly it was, but he went from Mora to Dungy. Yeah.
Playoffs.
Yeah. How often has it happened? But it just seems like it's happening so much now in this league, especially like right away. And of course, we're case in point right here in Nashville.
And it's interesting because it happened a couple times last year, right? Now, one was after the season, one was in the season, but Caleb Williams dealt with a coaching change. We're coming up on the year anniversary of that. We all remember the Thanksgiving game and what a debacle that was for Chicago last year against Detroit.
Yeah.
They fired their coach on that, Eberflus. And then after the year, obviously, Gerard Mayo fired by the Patriots and hired Vrabel. And it's worked out well for those two guys in year two. I mean, we went through the Bears' schedule yesterday. They haven't really beaten anybody yet, so we'll see what that looks like as they move forward here. But he's playing well. Offense is playing well. Ben Johnson clearly seems like he knows what he's doing and is a good coach with the Chicago Bears. And obviously Vrabel with Drake May. I mean, they're in first place in the AFC East and by the odds have the co-MVP favorite and the favorite for coach of the year right now. So, I mean, there are recent examples that you can point to that say, well, if you change the coach, it doesn't automatically mean doom for your young quarterback on that front. Now, however, there are examples throughout history where if you start changing stuff all the time around your quarterback, that probably doesn't bode well. And there's no doubt that Cam Ward is about to be on his third play caller whenever they do hire this next head coach, right? You've gone from Callahan to Hardegree and then whoever your next play caller is going to be once you hire the next head coach. That is certainly not ideal. I think we would all agree with that.
Right. Yeah. It's not ideal, but it's just about getting the next hire right. Because I mean, Drake May and Caleb Williams upgraded their situations. That's the whole idea. If you're going to fire someone, that's the whole idea. And your quarterback is in mind. With Caleb Williams, it's exactly it's the offensive play calling guy had great success, got the best football out of Jared Goff. So perfect. I mean, that's exactly what people look at and say that is what you need to do. Drake May went with the defensive culture coach, but of course you also have an OC who's had a lot of success, which some people have said, oh yeah, great job. Number 12. Good for you. Number 12 did well under you, but I think we're seeing that it's a pretty good combination. So you just gotta upgrade. I mean, it's not great to have all those changes, but as long as you ultimately land on a good choice, then it can be the right move.
Yeah, and now the question is, are the Titans going to land on a good choice? I mean, the Bears seem like they have. Patriots, I think, seem like they have with Vrabel here. And if you're the Titans, you're looking around at the head coaching position right now and what's open. Now you just had another job open up yesterday in the league. How many more are opening up? That's a big question here. Like when you're looking around, like is Arizona going to fire their coach? What's going on with Stefanski in Cleveland? Are they going to hold on to him at the end of the year? I mean, there's a lot of different ways that this could go in terms of which coaches are there and which coaches are not. I think LaFleur going to be fired at the end of the year.
Dustin from Hopkinsville wants him.
Well, I mean, for maybe a team that doesn't have a whole lot of expectations, maybe he's good.
I got to look up his record on the internet now.
His record's good. And we've seen plenty of coaches before that have good records but cannot take a team over the top. I think we're seeing it right before our eyes right now.
That is true.
In Green Bay. But, I mean, so New York's open. Titans are open. How many more are coming open? Like, is the chemistry teacher down there in Miami going to be able to save his job? They seem like they're playing better.
I don't think so.
There's some talk down there that there's still some buy-in and belief there. They're now at 3-7. I'm interested to see how they finish the season out. I've just assumed the whole year that he's going to be fired. Is that still going to be the case? How many jobs are open at the end of the year? Cincinnati, like there's talk of Joe Burrow coming back here in a couple of weeks, but they're 3-6.
Yeah.
So is Zach Taylor going to keep his job at the end of the year? Because if there's all these jobs open, well, that just dilutes the pool a little bit more. And maybe if you're the Titans, you don't end up with your first choice.
Yeah. Yeah. It dilutes the pool of the search for head coaches. Again, though, it would potentially, like in the case of McDaniel and Taylor, although I don't think that'd be appealing here since his protege came here and failed so miserably, but it could add to the pool of OCs if you don't pick the play calling head coach, So yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe I mean the Bengals have had such bad losses, but it's also like I feel like Burrow kind of calls the shots there. So like Burrow comes back, they make a run, he could save his job maybe, and especially if he wants to save his job. If he wants to like speak on his behalf, but I would think that'd be real possible. I have a hard time thinking Mike McDaniel is going to keep his job, barring a miracle. Sunday. What's that?
They look good on Sunday.
Yeah, they did. Now they play. Now they're going to one of the European games, right? I don't know where. I don't know what country they're going to, but playing the Commanders? Is that right? Yeah. So, but
we got to dial it back on the international games. They're not going to, but my goodness.
I don't know. I kind of like the early game.
I mean, I like having a game
to watch in the morning. Yeah, while I kind of mess around with my fantasy lineup, keep that on, keeps me occupied.
Yeah.
Be honest with you.
I mean, I'm driving Caroline to church, and I don't have to like listen to her terrible music, and I can just put on like YouTube TV and listen to a football game, and she can't argue with me because I'm like, I'm sorry, it's for work.
It's true.
So but yeah, I mean, it seems stupid. I'm sure like the people who play in this league would agree with you. Like, this sucks, man. Just send the Jags over there full time.
Yeah, exactly. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. Off and running on Robby and Rexrode. Brian Daboll out with the New York Giants. Another first-year quarterback dealing with a coaching change. How big a deal is that? How big a deal is that for Cam Ward here with the Titans, and can the Titans overcome it? We'll take your thoughts on all that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
The New York Giants have lost 4 games this season on the road in which they had double-digit leads. They've seen their prized rookie quarterback Jackson Dart be evaluated 4 separate times for concussions during this season. There was the incident with Brian Daboll poking his head around the blue medical tent when Jackson Dart was in there in a Thursday night game against the Philadelphia Eagles. And you see where they ranked offensively in points per game, opponents' points per game, yards per game, opponents' yards per game. They were amongst the bottom of the teams in the National Football League, and the Giants felt today that the best thing to do was to start anew with a head coach. They have dismissed Brian Daboll, and they have named the offensive coordinator Mike Kafka as the interim head coach starting this week.
As Adam Schefter, Giants have fired Brian Daboll, so another head coach out the door in the National Football League. Taking your thoughts on that. And taking your thoughts on Jackson Dart, Cam Ward, rookie quarterbacks, now dealing with their head coaches being fired very early into their careers here. 615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. It is a shame that Shane Bowen didn't get named interim head coach of the New York Giants. Thought there was a chance. Didn't happen.
Yeah, that is too bad. That is too bad. I don't really care about like Schefter's analysis of like all this, yards per game, but that is a good reminder of the poking your head in, like really, what was he doing? Was he just like, hey, you okay in there? Or was it like, hey, stop the testing. I need him on the field.
Get out of the tent. Let's go play football.
Yeah. Quit being a wuss. Get out of here. That was weird.
I mean, Schefter, talked about the 4 separate times Dart's been evaluated for concussion. Yeah, I mean, you can blame it on a coach if you want to. Some of that's on him, right? Like, get down at some point.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, he's got to learn for sure. The way he plays. He came out right out that first week, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to be like just like Scattaboo."
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that'll
not going to work.
That'll end real fast, one way or the other.
Yeah. The Daboll to offensive coordinator idea is interesting. I mean, the Giants as a whole, very interesting from the standpoint of, like, when he first got there, he's pretty good, right? Like,
yeah, right away.
Wow, look, Brian Daboll's good, and they're good.
And Daniel Jones, he's like, look, he's good with the quarterback.
And then I think I saw yesterday that after that first season, I think he was 11-33 since then as Giants head coach. Not very good. And then it's not only that, you have obviously the Saquon decision, and he leaves and goes to Philadelphia and has just lit it up with the Eagles ever since then. And now Daniel Jones, right? Like, Daniel Jones gets out of the Giants and ends up in Indianapolis, and he's playing good football right now. So, I mean, how much is that is Brian Daboll? How much of that is Joe Schoen and decisions they're making? I don't know. I don't know what that dynamic looks like, but you factor in all that together. And if you're the owner of the Giants, if you're John Mara, you're sitting around, you're like, wait a minute. So you guys are like 11-33 the last few years. Saquon's gone. He wins the Super Bowl immediately. Daniel Jones was awful here and immediately looks great in Indianapolis. What in the heck's going on around here? Like,
yeah, for sure.
I have to think that the GM got to be next, right?
Yeah, that I'm surprised that they didn't do the combo there. I mean, I guess again, it's like I guess we made a lot about, and justifiably so, about Amy Adams-Strong firing a GM in season. Like, why would you do that? But I guess to me, it's like, if you're going to do the coach, yeah, maybe they're just waiting till the end of the season because you don't need to do it in season. But yes, I don't think he's good. And I would say, and yeah, it's like, this is a great example of a team, like you said, where people go elsewhere and they do well. We know the Titans know that situation well. Texter says, so the media justifies New York firing Daboll, but when we did it, they just act dumb and say, poor Brian Callahan. How ridiculous. Kyle from Cookville said that. Is that what happened? The NFL media was like all in defense of Brian Callahan. I don't remember that. I'm not saying someone didn't say that.
There were a few that said that. I think most people don't watch the Titans and didn't have an opinion on it either way.
Yeah, like, who did what?
The Titans fired their head coach. How about that?
But one thing I will say to Kyle is, remember, I mean, this is year 2, so like in general, around the league, if you're not paying close attention to something, it is peculiar when it happens that fast, right? I mean, it happened super fast, and anybody paying attention was like, yep. In Denver with your boy Nathaniel. But it is year 2. So
Yeah.
year 2 is like, wow, did they really? And let's remember this, Kyle. Every defense of Callahan is actually probably more a criticism of the owner. Do you agree with that or not? Because I think it's the owner rashly firing people over and over that's been the story here. Yes or no?
Yeah, I would agree. Let's head back to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Tim to the program. Tim, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
How you doing? I'm originally from New Hampshire. I'm a Patriots fan, and I think the fact that obviously the Titans fired Vrabel, and now they fired the coach that replaced him, shows the just the inability of the organization to make good decisions.
Yeah, I would agree. Thank you for the call, Tim. Appreciate it. I mean, look, we talked a lot about Vrabel yesterday, and even some Titans fans that were out on Vrabel at the end. I saw some of their texts we got yesterday. I was like, yeah, we kind of screwed that one up, huh? It's like, well, yep, looks like you may have on that front. But now, I mean, nobody cares about that anymore. You've done it, and he's in New England, and we'll see how it ends up going for him. Really, the only thing that matters right now is, can you get the next head coach right? Can you get the next head coach right? And I agree 100% with Kuharski. And I think we're going to see this. I think Borgonzi needs to be the one doing the hiring. Get Borgonzi out there. He needs to be the one making the decision on this. And again, I'm not going to sit here and overreact to a press conference. I thought the press conference he did last week was really good. It made me feel better that maybe he's got somewhat of a clue as to what he's doing out there. But, Brinker doing his thing, Amy Armstrong, you can, shake hands with the next head coach in the diner if you want to at that point. But basically stay out of it. Like, Mike Borgonzi needs to be the next one hiring the coach. You got to get it right. Got to.
So Amy just she sends like a video to the new coach, but it's like one of those like interviews like on 60 Minutes where it's like, welcome to the Titans. Witness protection program.
Make sure Amy's there when you got the whole building welcoming the next head coach and clapping.
Oh God.
Which will happen.
They did that obviously I remember they did that for Rand. They did that for Callahan too?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, that has got to stop. Everybody with the Tennessee Titans, of all the other issues that you have going on, I know that there are things more pressing. Just freaking hire someone and put out a tweet and do some work. Like, this stuff is so ridiculous. And I'm sure. Does everybody do it now?
I'm sure they do.
Like, actually, I do remember when they hired Vrabel.
I mean, Vitello got it in San Francisco.
Yeah,
with the Giants.
What a terrible trend. I mean,
hey, welcome in, coach. Good job.
Yeah. Hope you don't get fired in less than 2 years. I do remember when Vrabel got hired, they had like J-Rob met him on the plane, like, oh yeah, big bro hug.
I'd rather see that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's at least like just a sort of like a moment, not like, okay, let's get the entire building gathered around. Please don't do it ever again, Titans.
Yeah.
If you do that, then I'll know you're making progress as a franchise. If you never do that again.
But do you agree, I guess, number one, that Mike Borgonzi should be the one doing the hiring, and number two, that he will be the one doing the hiring?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think, certainly I agree with everybody who says, he comes off well when, especially when he's independently just up there and not trying to defer to someone or being told by someone to talk or whatever. The better idea. There we go. The first draft class, there's some good stuff in there for sure. There's some promising signs with the first draft class. Still concerned about that second round pick. But will he? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, look, Brinker's still his boss, right?
I know.
So I think there's a much higher chance. Like, I think Brinker deferring to him on the roster makes sense, and I believe that. But when you talk about hiring a coach, I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. I would think that Brinker would probably be a little bit more involved in that than like the roster day-to-day stuff.
Well,
right?
and I think that's why a lot of people have made the connection to McCarthy, is because Brinker is involved. And I have no idea. Chad Brinker and Mike McCarthy may hate each other. I have no clue.
They may have gotten into a slap fight in Green Bay.
But it's also
I'm sure they were on a plane to or from Green Bay at some point.
Sure,
you know how that stuff goes sometimes.
I'm sure they were. But also, like Borgonzi's got all these connections with Kansas City people.
Right.
Like, I mean, it feels like what the hire is going to come from like a background of one of those two places. Not necessarily that it should, but it just kind of feels like that's how things go in the NFL. We'll see. What is it going to be? McCarthy? You brought up Nagy, who I agree probably did a better job in Chicago than most people think he did when you go back and look at it. So could he get another shot as an NFL head coach? Like I'm really, I guess more than anything, I'm interested to see what their approach is here and how they go about doing this because look, they've basically screwed everything up over the last couple of years. And this is something that you just can't do that. Like you cannot screw this up heading into the coaching hire. 615-737-1025. More thoughts on this coming up next. A lot of your thoughts to get to as well on our text line. We'll do all that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on the Titans, the head coaching search for the Tennessee Titans. Joe Jeff from Nebraska asking this question. Wouldn't there be serious consideration to show Brinker the door if this team only wins one game? Shouldn't someone be fired outside of just the coach if that happens at that point?
See him sitting here ripping Amy for firing everybody. It's like she's not firing enough people.
Probably not.
I don't like, so the way you ask that question is like, shouldn't there be some public accountability? Right. I mean, I just, to me, it's like, you better be making decisions in there based on what you believe in terms of the competence of the people you employ. You know, I don't think that there has to be some sacrifice of Brinker. They fired the coach. No, they've been firing people left and right. Now, why does Brinker survive through all this stuff? It's a totally fair question. We've asked it a million times.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know that I wouldn't expect that. Wouldn't be shocked by it either.
I wouldn't be shocked by it. I mean, at this point, though, you fired the coach. I think you have a general manager, we'll see, that's got some competence to him. You clearly got a plan here in terms of letting those two. And look, Borgonzi talked about this last week. It's his job to build the roster. You know, it's a fair question if you're out there wondering how Brinker has not only survived, but has been promoted throughout all this. Like, how has that happened? I have no idea. So he must be really good at things behind the scenes. I have no clue. So that's a fair question. You can wonder about that. I also don't think that they should change anything to their structure right now with where they're at with him and Borgonzi. Like, you got to see if they can dig their way out of it or not, right? Like, you know, if we're still talking about a team that this time next year has one win, then probably everything's on the table at that point. But I would not, as bad as I think Brinker is and has been, and as mystified as I am about how he's hung around through all this, at this point, when you've already fired the coach and you're clearly have your eyes on next season right now, let's see if they can fix it.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it, I do think, how are Brinker and Borgonzi, you know, how do they work together? How do they get along? Like, is that a good situation? Because obviously, Brinker is in charge of a lot of stuff. It's a lot, you know, maybe a lot of stuff that doesn't necessarily matter all that much to fans or us, but then you have to go replace him, right? So I guess it's like if the lights are working, the security cameras are working, the grass is being cut, people are getting their checks on time, etc.
Got the algae out of the pond out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And you got the GM is doing well. And he's staying out of the GM's way, I guess. Then I don't know. Do you really need to do it?
No, I mean,
at some point, like I said, it might be another house cleaning. They got all kinds of people in there.
There are two major decisions that are going to define the Brinker, I guess, / Borgonzi tenure, right? I mean, is Cam Ward any good? And is the next head coach you hire any good, right? Like, that's what's going to define whether or not those guys are here 2 years from now, right? And those two things work out well.
Exactly. And Cam and the coach are going to be dependent on each other for both of those answers too. You know, coach better be right if he takes his job and says, I think that kid can be good, and you better do something to make him good, right?
Yeah. I mean, going back to like the original part of this conversation, I don't think, again, it's not ideal that the Titans are in this situation with Cam Ward. It's not ideal that the Giants are now in this situation with Jackson Dart. But as I said, like, there's very recent examples that you can overcome it, right? Like Drake May, they changed their coach after his first year, and they've overcome it. Caleb Williams looks like he's overcome it in Chicago. We'll see how the rest of the season goes. And look, even if you watch Caleb Williams play, like, he's not perfect, but they're clearly better. And I think they've got a coach that knows what he's doing out there. So you can overcome all the change and all the turmoil early in a career if you make the right decisions. The question is, which has been the question for the last few years with the Titans, with everything they do, are they going to make the right decisions? And it's been an overwhelming evidence of no for the last few years. Can they change that in this process? Because if they can't, I mean, we're just going to start this cycle all over again eventually with coach, quarterback, GM, and you're stuck in purgatory at that point.
Right. And the Bears have definitely been now, like you said, it looks bad. It's better. Caleb Wynn's very talented. He makes some big time plays. They have not beaten a team with a pulse, I don't think, yet. So, like, they're a little bit of a paper bear there,
Nice,
so to speak. But going before this, I mean, it was a constant cycle of coach, quarterback, and you just that's not how you want to operate. But maybe now it's like you spin the wheel and you finally get the things all right together. I mean, we'll see. Like Liam says, got to hire better, got to fire better.
Nice.
There you go.
So back to the phone line. Welcome in Adam in Portland to the program. Adam, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, Robby. I stayed up and watched that game just for you last night, Robby, man.
My apologies.
I wish they
Sorry
would
to
have done
do
a
that
little
to
better for you. It's all good. Hey, so when I understand that we have to eventually stop firing people, but Brinker needs to be the end. Like he's got to be one more fire. We're one more firing away. Then we can stop.
Just
doing
one
that.
more. Just one more. And then I'm
You're
gonna
almost
kick
there.
tomorrow. One more firing,
one.
baby.
Well, here's where I got a problem, and I know I'm super petty for this, but the presser where they're sitting there and they go, "Can you win with this football team?" and he giggled. That told me all I needed to know about that dude, man. I never want to hear another word out of his mouth.
Okay, hold on.
He put the team together. So if Mr. Collaboration, you put the damn team together, you're going to laugh at it if we ask you if we could win? No, and the other dude didn't laugh. He was like, it's a process, baby. So I trust that guy. I don't trust the one who giggles because he's got to end with the owner and he knows he's not going anywhere. I don't trust that guy.
Okay, to be fair, that was Big Joe asking if you can win the Super Bowl this year, which everyone should have laughed collectively with each other at.
No, they shouldn't have. No, they shouldn't have. Not for season ticket members who pay $4,400 for seats. No, you should go. Hey,
you should lie to them. You should lie to them to the point where they feel like, oh my God, this is the biggest liar in the world.
There's an area in between winning the Super Bowl and lying. There you could go, hey, we're putting it together. But you don't start giggling like, what a goofball, dude. No, he lost me that day. Will never get me back.
Thank you, Adam. Appreciate it.
Big Joe made him giggle. You're out.
Can we call him the giggler? I will say the press conference that those
I
two
laughed
did,
out loud.
The press conference that those two did together, I don't even remember when that was. I guess it was after they fired Callahan. At this point, like when it was just like Brinker talking, it was like, Mike, you got any thoughts on this?
Yeah.
I last week it was refreshing to have Borgonzi just up there by himself. We've probably reached the end of needing to hear from Chad Brinker on a consistent basis.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, so then some people would say, then okay, what's he do? Why is he here? Fire him. But again, I'm not comparing him because I think, and I only covered him for a little bit, but I know that there's a lot of respect for what he did. You know, Steve Underwood, in a way, in a sense, is that job. And Steve Underwood, like, never did press conference. You know, he just, unless there was like a massive, massive reason for him to be the presser, right?
Just incredible mustache.
Yeah. I mean, he should have been at more pressers and, you know, and made Colonel Sanders blush. But like that, I guess that's to me, it's like, why not just have Brinker just be in the background?
Yeah, I don't know. It's, but I can't get over. We're going to have to refer to him as the giggler now. It's just it's the giggler. He's back up there on stage.
I'd have to watch that again. I guess I thought I thought that was a little bit more of a like a not like a hilarious. No, Joe.
The chuckler. Oh man.
Yeah.
Matthew from Jolton says I'd consider bringing Dayball in as offensive coordinator. He's helped Jackson Dart out a lot.
He's helped him try to avoid concussion protocols.
I mean, look, I do think Dayball has been a good offensive coordinator in the league. I think that's probably what his next stop is, right? Is going back to being an offensive coordinator somewhere. So, I mean, depending on the head coach you hire, I don't hate that idea if you're the Titans. It just depends on where you go. Like if you're hiring Mike McCarthy or Matt Nagy, then you're probably not hiring Brian Daboll as your offensive coordinator because those guys are probably going to be calling the plays at that point. So I don't know. Like it just all that depends on who you're hiring as head coach.
Yeah, but I think it's another,
an
McDaniels,
option.
yeah, another option potentially as an appealing OC. And Dayball, I think the appeal, again, Josh McDaniels, we've talked about why is he, obviously he's been very good as an OC in New England, but why he's really appealing is because Vrabel doesn't have to worry about losing him. I think the same thing would be true of Mike. I don't think Mike McDaniel, I just don't see anyone anytime soon wanting to make that guy a head coach. I just think he's not quite a head coach. So I think he'd be someone that you could hold on to. And Dayball may be the same thing.
Maybe.
I mean, Dayball, I think, has demonstrated more as a head coach. But if it went really, really well, you could lose him in a couple of years, I guess. But that's what you want, right? It's kind of like if you're a college coach and you're a college hoops coach and you can get like a 6'8" big who's really great in the post, dominates, but like you have to be 6'11" to be in the NBA and play that way,
Right now, if I'm a Titans fan, let me please worry about losing my offensive coordinator at some point.
Exactly.
Please. It'd be a welcome change.
Now granted, now we can bring this conversation full circle. They lost their OC after a okay year to go coach the Green Bay Packers after the 2018 season. It was like, oh, really? No kidding. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, Matt LaFleur? Really? That's what Vrabel, the entire building was like, really? Oh, okay, Matt.
Good for you, Matt.
Buddy.
Good job.
He's still there.
He's still there.
Leading your team.
For now. He's doing something with it. 615-737-1025. Our phone number. A lot more of your thoughts to get to on the head coaching search, the Cam Ward front of all of this. More coming up next. We will get into the Predators in the 7 o'clock hour as well. All that ahead. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, our phone number.
Can I quickly address a texter? Yeah, I don't know.
Sure.
I'm not trying to be mean here, but Terry from Nashville is a Bears fan.
Okay.
And yeah, he's trying to tell me the Bears are a contender apparently. He says the Bears are the only players on the schedule. I'm like, yeah, I'm just saying, like, anybody who thinks they're a contender, they're just not. He says, when we play the Eagles, we will find out. And I was like, well, so
and then like 6 weeks.
The 52-21 loss of the Lions, the loss by 2 touchdowns to Snoop Huntley and the Ravens, these didn't count. And he says sometimes you lose the Dolphins, beat the Bills. Okay, so again, the Bears lost at home to the Vikings. Again, the Lions put a 50 burger on them. So they beat Dallas. They beat the Raiders by a point. They beat the Commanders by a point. They came back to beat New Orleans. I had mentioned the Baltimore game. They had this insane win over the Bengals, which the Jets also pulled off. And then they were actually getting dominated for like most of the day the other day and had a stirring comeback to beat the Giants.
Yeah.
This is the most like fake 6-3 team I've ever seen in the NFL.
Well, they play Minnesota, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Green Bay twice, San Francisco, and Detroit coming up. So we're going to find out.
Yeah. So they will. So they're 6-3. They will end up 8-9.
Okay.
Mark it down.
There you go. 8-9 for the Chicago Bears.
8-9.
You heard it here.
So again, is there progress? Should there be excitement about Caleb Williams? Sure. Was Ben Johnson a good hire? I think he was. Is there progress? Are you moving in the right direction? I think so. It's the weakest 6-3 team I've ever seen in the NFL. Sorry, Terry. I had to pick on you.
Not going to get any arguments from me. David from Paris says whoever the Titans hire better not be giggling at the introductory press conference. No laughing.
Yeah, I mean, Adam's out. If you do you want to play that? I just want let's just hear it. I think the video, because Brinker in the video is like, but he kind of stifles it. Let's see if we can detect anything in audio.
Simple question: the team you put on the field tomorrow, can that team win the Super Bowl?
Listen, that's always the goal every year.
Yeah.
We also realize
Borgazzi
we have a lot of
laughed.
work to do on this roster.
Did Borgazzi not laugh there?
I think that was Brinker.
They both a little bit, but I think it was mostly Brinker with the humph.
Yeah, that. But I'm just saying, when Borgazzi started to answer his question, he also did a. I mean, can we
fire them both?
Can we not like? Does Big Joe get held accountable for this at all? Adam, are you mad at him at all?
Oh boy. One texter says, wasn't there a report that came out during the offseason that Daboll was in love with Cam Ward during the draft process?
Yeah.
I think Ward needs an alpha offensive coordinator or head coach, basically somebody with the same personality as him, and Daboll might be perfect. Well, clearly Daboll liked him because the Giants tried to trade it up to get him, right? I mean, and the Titans, as we know, did not take that trade offer. But I think clearly Daboll liked him some Cam Ward.
Yeah. So no, I mean, I think there's absolutely something to that. That Daboll would be a guy. And again, any coach applying for any of these jobs is going to say, "Oh yeah, I can see it." I mean, I guess unless it's a situation so bad, but if it's that, then like you're going to go into a place you're going to get a quarterback, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that there is something there, and so you got that. If Daboll is available, you got someone who believe, at least at the time, and granted, sometimes guy plays in the league and people think different things about them, but
yeah,
believed in him in the draft process.
Is there, I guess the interesting part to me about this coaching process, it doesn't seem like there's one guy available out there that Titans fans are like, yep, got to have him, right? Like, Ben Johnson was going to be the belle of the ball last year, right? Chicago ended up getting him. Depending on what year it is, there have been coaches that have been available that it's like, well, yep, you got to go find a way to get that guy. I mean, I guess there are some coaches that could become available at the end of the year that maybe we don't expect right now. But it is interesting, like hearing from Titans fans throughout this process, there's a bunch of different people that are coming to mind as to who they want the next head coach to be. There's no like universal favorite, I think, right now.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's probably good because if there was a universal favorite, you're not getting him.
Probably not.
Right. So, but yeah, I feel like there's, of course, now we're watching the Steelers. Whew, that may not be going in a very good direction. The Arthur Smith, that takes a little excitement off of Arthur Smith if it keeps going that way with that team. But obviously he's going to be in there, and Nagy's going to be in there, and I think Salah's going to be in there. And like those are the and then McCarthy, I guess, right? Like those are your that's your Mount Rushmore of this Titans coaching search, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's not. I feel like if the Steelers were to go off and Aaron Rodgers had this huge year, that it'd be this groundswell for Arthur Smith. It's just like all of them, how they do in their jobs the rest of the year dictates momentum a little bit, right? But yeah, I don't think there's going to be one clear consensus person.
One texter says, if the Titans could have any coach that they wanted, let's say Andy Reid, that's their number one coach, and he didn't want Cam Ward, would the Titans still hire him? Just from an unnamed texter. So I guess it's saying, like, if you could pick your coach and the coach looked at it and said, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the quarterback, would the Titans hire him? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well, first off, I mean, it's hard to operate that way because, like, the Titans aren't getting anybody close to Andy Reid's caliber. So,
right. Yeah.
It's a tough hypothetical to play out.
It's an interesting question.
Yeah.
So I guess, or hire the coach, say, okay, Mendoza, the Heisman Mendoza is coming to Nashville.
Yeah. I mean, I guess is there anybody out there that is available that would take the Titans job that carries that much weight into a decision like that? I don't know that there is in this coaching cycle.
Yeah.
Like Matt Nagy's not that guy. Mike McCarthy is very accomplished, but I don't think he's that. I don't think he's
not that guy.
Yeah,
he's not that guy.
So I don't know if that person exists right now.
And again, like someone said in the YouTube chat, like, I mean, to me, you're just not going to go through the process if you actually feel that way. You know what I mean? Like you can be like, thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah.
Or you go through but no one, people are going to, if you can't tell, because what the question is not going to be, do you like him? It's going to be, how can you make this a great player? This, right. We picked him. He has to be a great player. How are you going to do that? Right. It's a lot less. It's a lot more than that. Than it's just like, do you like him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think he's any good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's awesome, right? Did we make a good pick?
Do you like him or Mendoza? What about Ty Simpson?
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how
Diego Pavia?
The good news is, Joe, we only have another 2 months of discussing the Titans head coaching search.
It's better than the draft.
It
Mostly keeping away from the draft.
It is. 615-737-1025. Our phone number, 615-737-1025. We briefly brought up an interesting trade proposal that was thrown out there with the Nashville Predators yesterday. We'll get into that coming up next, plus another loss for the Predators last night. They're losing a lot of games right now, and people are ready to have the should they fire Andrew Burnett conversation. We will get into all that coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Tuesday morning, live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. We will have David Ubben from The Athletic with us at 8 o'clock. We'll get into all things college football with him, so looking forward to that later in the program. Joe, the Nashville Predators fall last night 6-3 at the hands of the New York Rangers. Now, frankly, very predictable result heading into it. The Rangers had not won a home game all year. I think they had been shut out 5 times in 7 home games heading into that last night.
I believe that's
next
what it
to
was.
worst offense in the league,
Yeah,
I
just
think.
pretty bad. And then, of course, it's like, well, they hung up 6 on the Nashville Predators last night.
Here's your get-right game.
It
Knock
was
Saros out of the game.
Certainly a get-right game. They were up 5-1 after 2 periods of play. Saros gets pulled, and the Rangers win 6-3. Good news is
Matty Wood
with a hat trick last night. So congratulations to him. I'm sure not the result that they're looking for last night, but a memorable night for Matthew Wood. A hat trick at Madison Square Garden. Pretty cool. And by the way, he continues to play really well. Like, he's of the things to be excited about with the Nashville Predators right now, of which there are not very many. I think he would be at the top of the list with the way that he is playing. And obviously you're talking about a 20-year-old at that point. So that's good stuff for the Nashville Predators that way. UC Saros pulled after 2 periods last night. I mean, they definitely won, maybe a couple that you could look at him and be like, yeah, you probably should have had that one. But interesting defense in front of them at times last night that largely has been good throughout the year, was not very good last night. So the Predators are losing a lot of games. I think they've now lost 5 in a row. And we talked about it a little bit yesterday, Joe. They're quickly fading here. And, I said it. I think you're living in fantasy land if you think that they're just going to snap out of it with the way their roster is right now. They have 5 wins in 18 games to begin the season. So they're not good. They're going to be one of the worst teams in the league again this year. I think it's pretty clear when you watch them play. And we're going to get to the Andrew Burnett part of this here in just a second. I do want to bring up something that we talked about yesterday, and that is UC Saros. And based on where the Predators are right now, and based on, frankly, looking at it, how long it may take them to get out of it, could they be willing to listen on a UC Saros trade proposal? Now, look, I have no idea if anybody's actually going to be interested in UC Saros, but the obvious team right now that everybody's pointing to is Edmonton. Edmonton has been bad to start the year. They got a comeback win last night in overtime. McDavid scored this ridiculous turnaround backhand shot goal. They won the game last night. They're probably going to find a way to dig themselves out of their bad start, and they'll be back in the playoffs, and then we'll see what they do in the playoffs. But we know this. Stuart Skinner in goal for them has been very up and down over the last couple of years. Sometimes he looks pretty good, and you think, well, you can win with him. And then other times it's like, well, they've got Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl and all these guys that are really good, and the thing that's going to hold them back is they can't get a save to save their life in big moments. So he's been bad to start the year. Some people have thrown it out there. Jesse Granger from The Athletic has thrown it out there. A lot of people in Edmonton have bounced the idea around of, could you find a way, if you're the Oilers, to put a trade proposal together and bring in UC Saros? Now, there are some cap things that Edmonton would have to figure out. They'd probably have to make some moves in order to make this work. There's a lot of things that would have to go into this in order for this to happen. My question for you, Joe, is, knowing what you know about the Predators, knowing what you know about Barry Trotz, the contract that UC Saros signed, which I do believe includes trade protection, so I guess he could just shut this down if he really wanted to. Should the Predators consider this if Edmonton comes calling, in your mind?
Does he have a full NMC?
I think he does. I'll have to double check that.
Should they consider it? Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Look, when are you going to be good? And what is he going to be at that point? Good for UC Saros starting as well as he did this year, because obviously that's been an issue, and I just think he really needed it. But I'm gonna refer here to our friend Alex Doherty, who broke down the numbers last night. His first 7 games, 911 save, 257 goals against. Last 7 games, he's at an 876 here with save percentage, and he's at 342 goals allowed.
Yeah.
I mean, again, he's still a very good player. I am concerned that he will not return to Vezina level play. And again, I know there are people on that team who would say, well, we're screwing him over, but I think they did shore that up. I think that the Preds are in one area, they are better defensively this year. And I think overall, like, the underlying numbers tell you that, like, they have made some improvements this year to give themselves more of a chance in more games, right?
Yes, they've been in most of these games.
But, I just, when are they going to be good? And at that point, what is he going to be? So, yes, I would consider it. And, you do have, Doherty mentioned this yesterday on the show, the kid Jack Ivankovic.
Ivan Kovic.
Ivan Kovic, is that how you
Ivan
say it?
Kovic.
Ivan Kovic?
Yeah, something
Kovic.
like that.
We have a lot of
Kovic,
different
yeah.
possibilities with Ivankovic, Ivan Kovic.
Ivan
Jack
Kovic.
I.
Yeah.
Jackie I up there, Michigan. He's been incredible. And I understand, he's a freshman in college.
Yeah.
But, college hockey now, frankly, is like a better litmus test for he's going up against he's going up against pros. He's going to be going up against McKenna and Riker Lee and Porter Martone, so maybe he's your answer down the road. But either way, I just feel like if you can get a true haul, whatever that would be, it would have to be a hell of a haul to me, and you have to figure out the money. I think they absolutely should consider it.
By the way, he's got a full no move for the first 6 years.
Yeah, the last 2 go to a modified.
Yeah.
So if you're him, it's like McDavid, Draisaitl, Stanley Cup. How's it sound?
I mean, I think that would be
But also, have you ever been to Edmonton?
Edmonton?
You've been there for a day or two here and there. How about living there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's from the Nordic, right?
It's true.
But he lives in Nashville.
It's in his blood.
Yeah.
He'll be all right.
He's a Nashvilleian now.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be interesting on his front.
I guess I would be interested to see what could Edmonton give up. Like, it's not like Edmonton is rich with all these prospects, right? Like, they've been trying to
They've been
win.
buying.
Yeah,
They've been buying for a while.
Yeah, they've been trying to win. So what could Edmonton give up that would be attractive to the Predators? Because, to answer the Barry Trotz part of this, clearly Barry Trotz loves UC Soros. And I think if you've watched them play this year, I know that the last few games, his save percentage has dipped and it's not gone well. He's been largely fine this year. He was really good to begin the year. And even lately, I think he's been fine. It's just they've had some, last night it was like the parting of the Red Sea on the first goal that the Rangers
that was
scored.
interesting
Wow,
defense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good stuff out there. And they did that against Dallas last week or over the weekend against Rope Hintz. Is they've had some moments where it's on the whole, I agree they've been better defensively. They have had some moments where it's what are you guys doing out there? I think you might want to put a body on that guy. I would be interested to see what Edmonton, is Edmonton desperate enough where they could offer something attractive to the Predators? Because on the one hand, it's if you're the Predators, you want to move him, get something good for him. On the other hand, it's when the Predators going to be good again, you could clear up some room there and then go figure out goalie when you needed to. It would be nice if they had, Skarov to roll back on at this point. But that's water under the bridge at this point. I don't know. Edmonton is also in that process, in this theoretical process that we're going to, would be picking up a contract that is lasting for another 7 years. And while it's not, as the cap is going up, if he plays really well for them, especially they're the type of team where the contract is fine because you're trying to win a championship in the next 3-4 years, right?
The back end's going to hurt. Okay, win a cup.
The back end, they may not have McDavid for at this point. So they got to be all in right now.
If you believe he's the answer, they should do it. But yeah, to your point, okay, so what is that? What are you getting?
What are you getting?
What can you offer?
It's just it's a lot of people are discussing this right now. I don't know if it's even on Edmonton's radar or not. I certainly don't know if the Predators, I'm sure they would listen, but how much serious consideration would they give to making a deal? at this point. I don't know. And then, UC Soros could walk into Barry Trotz's office and be like, hey, man, no, I'm not going. And then that shuts the whole thing down.
I think you asked for you want their like first round picks in like 20, like 31, 32. Like when you project them to be total cheeks, get 3 straight first round picks like in the early 30s / late 20s. How about that?
Yeah. It's an interesting spot that they're in. We'll take your thoughts on that. The idea of if Edmonton came calling, would you listen on UC Soros if you're the Predators? And like I said, the losing has become pretty rampant here for the Predators. And people are screaming about Andrew Brunette and his job status. We will get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
Bruno, what do you make of this one overall tonight for your group here?
Yeah, I think it's a little disappointing. I thought
the start of the second period kind of dictated the rest of the game. I thought we had a pretty good first. We had a little bit of a couple of mistakes there on the second goal. Like the start of that first shift, and then did a strange thing that we shouldn't be doing, and then took a penalty, and then kind of started chasing the game a little bit. And I really liked our third. I thought our response was really good. The pushback was there, but it took too long to get to that kind of game.
That was Andrew Brunette last night. Predators lose 6-3 to the New York Rangers. They did outshoot the Rangers, Joe, 30-18. So, yippee.
Kudos.
Way to go. They've lost 5 in a row. A couple of those have been in overtime, but they have lost 5 in a row. They are 5-9-4 on the year. And in their last 10, they are 2-6-2. So, not going well for the Nashville Predators right now. We're still, I mean, in my opinion, too early to look at the standings too much. But I mean, if you want to, they're the second or third worst team in the Western Conference right now. Only St. Louis and Calgary are worse than the Predators right now in the West. So not going well for the Nashville Predators. And a lot of people talking about the coach, right? Andrew Brunette. We knew if they did not start well this year, Joe, that he would be on the hot seat, certainly with the fan base. How much of the hot seat is he on with the actual organization? I don't know. That still remains to be seen. Vengen put this out there last night. Said the Preds will soon be 1-6-2 in their past 9 games, which is what they are after losing last night. Says it's past time to fire Andrew Brunette. Franchise has more problems than the coach, but it must show its fans that these results will not be tolerated before they tune out. I said yesterday when we were talking to Alex Doherty, it felt like to me on, I guess, Saturday, they've had so many games, the days are running together, but I think it was Saturday after they lost to the Stars. It just kind of felt like they didn't have any answers, right? Like Stamkos was just like, nights that we can't score, we defend pretty well. And then nights that we start to score, we can't play any defense. And that's how you can't win games. And, Brunette basically in post-game press conferences has started to talk about some of the same stuff he was talking about last year, which is just, there are lapses in the game and they play well for a while, but they're not connected. And it's sounding very similar to the way it sounded a year ago. And Joe, I think we're pretty close to the point where you're probably going to have to fire him. If nothing else, then just to try to change something up, right? Like, I mean, they're 5-9-4. They're a bad offensive team. I think they've gotten better defensively. But, I mean, if you look at it, they're still not great defensively when you look at the goals that they're giving up right now. So there's just not a whole lot that's going well. I mean, like I said last segment, the one thing to be excited about right now if you're a Predators fan is, hey, Matt Will looks pretty good. That's a good thing. But what do you make of where they are through 18 games and how that relates to the Andrew Brunette conversation?
Yeah, well, all of these conversations, all these things that are just said over and over again, it's all code for we're just not good. That's what it is. I don't know that I agree with Vengen, and I'm not saying you must keep Andrew Brunette at all costs. I just don't. I don't know that fire, like he said, you risk fans tuning out. I feel like Predators fans have been disillusioned for a while, and most Predators fans did not have high expectations for this team, and now they are unfortunately having their low expectations fulfilled because they're not good. So, and I understand if you want to get into they're in more close games, and things could be different if they finish some of these games differently. Yeah, and some of the underlying numbers are better. They're not good. So I just don't know that like firing him, like, is that going to be some big? I don't know that I just agree with Vengen that it's like if you don't do that soon, now you're going to lose the fans. I mean, I think people know this team was going to be bad. Do fans want Brunette fired? I'm sure some do, and they're like, let's try it. And like to your point, that's why you do it. Yeah. It's just like, okay, like it's not working. And frankly, I would say I have a bigger issue, and it's been the same thing with Laviolette and Hines and him. I have a bigger issue with the team they're coaching than the coaching of the team, but that's what you do in this league. So, I mean, if they do it, fine. But I don't know that that's like you have to have this is some accountability thing that you have to do, or now the fans will. I mean, the fans are very unhappy with the whole product than they should be, and it's not going to change to me if you fire the coach.
Well, I think to me, it's less about the fans. I think we're getting pretty close to the point with the team where you got to try something else. I think probably the most disappointing part about the year so far is, they spent all off season talking about, well, we're going to have Brunette make some changes. We're going to tweak some things with the system, and we're going to be a better defensive team. And we've talked about it. They have been a little bit better defensively. Nick Hague, frankly, has not been very good so far, but it's early with him. I'm willing to be patient and see what that looks like. I think Perbix has been really good for the most part. They're without Yossi right now, so you have to keep that in mind. But I think they are better defensively, particularly when they're healthy. Offensively, they're just not dangerous at all. Like, it's just, watch them play, and, I guess other than Matt Wood right now.
Yeah, hat tricks.
They're just not.
Matt Wood.
They're not dangerous. And the power play is getting a little better right now. They're making some progress on the power play. But it just kind of feels like the same thing from last year. And I think at some point, even though with as patient as they are, and I said it last year, I don't know if I can assign a percentage to it, but most teams would have fired Andrew Brunette after last year.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the exact percentage is, but most teams would have fired him at the end of last year. The Predators, I'm not stunned that they didn't. I knew that Barry Trotz would be more patient than most. But I do think we're getting pretty close to the point, like, from the team. Forget the fans for a second, and I know the fans are out on Brunette. But from the team perspective, like, I think we're getting pretty close to, like, you gotta try something else out there.
Yeah.
You can't get rid of all of them, so you got to try something else.
And yeah, that's what teams do. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if it's not too far down the road. But I also am not going to be shocked if it's just a complete, totally going against the grain and just, no, we're going to see this through. I mean, I could see that being as much a case here as any place in the NHL. Keith says, I already tuned out. It's not entertaining to watch. There's no scoring, just like the Titans. And I do, fans are out on Brunette. But again, Josh from Dixon, at what point is it Trotz's fault for a garbage roster? I mean, the thing is, once you do move on from Brunette, whenever that happens, then the focus becomes Barry Trotz,
Yep.
and go back and forth on the plan, two timelines. I mean, look, it has not gone well.
No,
he has not. He has not done a good job as a GM. Could it change? Could the prospects come together? Like Matthew Wood, that's a good pick. So
yeah,
there's a good thing, but way too little of that, and way too much disappointment.
Well, that's the problem right now. Like, I think Alex Doherty with us put it pretty well yesterday. Like, in terms of this roster and the construction of it, and just how set up they are right now to compete in a Western Conference, by the way, that's loaded. I mean, they're bad. I mean, they're not close at them. That's probably the main thing they're not close to being good. Like, look around the West right now. Chicago's got a young core that they're putting together, and they're coming on a little bit. San Jose got a young core that they're putting together. I mean, Celebrini's been unbelievable to begin the year. Anaheim with Joel Quenneville, with their young guys, they look really good. And by the way, that's not even factoring in Edmonton and Vegas,
the teams that are just good,
the teams
that have
been good for a while. Like, they're not close to being good in the Western Conference. So you've got, on the one hand, right now, they're just not set up to win. On the other hand, like, I am encouraged by what I've seen from some of their draft picks, right? Like, Wood looks good at the NHL level. Alex brought it up yesterday, but Igor Surin's playing really well in the KHL. I mean, there's a limitation as to what all that means, because at the end of the day, nobody really cares around here what your prospects are doing in other leagues. It's what are they going to do here? And I understand that. But that's the difficulty of the two timelines thing. Is the first timeline is an absolute abject disaster right now for the Predators. The other one does look like there might be some promise there. So how do you balance those two things on the Trotz front?
Yeah. And I understand that this is classic second guessing, because, and I may have missed it. Maybe some people hated all the signings, Stamkos and and Shea and Marchessault and all that stuff. But for the most part, it was celebrated. So that's always worth mentioning when you get into this, how bad this has been. But at the same time, just because media and fans were on board doesn't mean that he's not accountable for the moves. Like, it doesn't
it's his
take
job to make the right moves.
Exactly. He's still accountable to ownership for what's gone on here. So I don't know. I sometimes look at the Preds and I think, it's a pretty amazing story that basically you have the same kind of core people that have been involved with the thing now for, pushing 30 years. But sometimes maybe you just need to start over and do something new and try to get. And I'm talking scouting. I'm talking a lot of things. I mean, they've had some of the same consistent issues that we've talked about over and over again for decades.
Well, and this is, I'm not going to go crazy and say they're as bad as center as they've ever been, because I've seen them worse than they are right now at center. Their center ice is bad, man. It's bad. O'Reilly's had a good start to the year, but O'Reilly's not a number one center. McCarron's fine in a fourth line role, but I mean, they're getting nothing from Svechkov, nothing. And they're getting very little from Eric Hall, which is not a surprise, by the way. Like, that's the one move in the offseason. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why are you bringing in Eric Hall?
Well, and last year it was like, yeah, no, let's give Novak the shot. What are you doing there? I mean, so there are a lot of things. The big signings, absolutely. Like, I have to raise my hand and say, I'm just second guessing now. They didn't work out, but there's other things that they've, especially like, let's see if this guy can do it, that have really not worked out. Where if you're going to make these big moves, then you have to do more, to me, in correspondence with those moves to give yourselves a chance.
Oh, and another one that looks like it's just going to be an absolute disaster of a move. Justin Barron is bad. Yeah, and Justin Barron is, he's still a younger player, but he's not that young. Like, he's been around a minute in the NHL at this point. And you look at him and you look at Carrier. And again, Carrier is not a perfect player, but Carrier's been pretty good in Montreal so far. And it's an absolute net negative on that move, going from Carrier to Barron, who, by the way, was scratched last night. Like, he's just not good. And it's a problem. 615-737-1025, our phone number. Where do you stand on Andrew Brunette as head coach of the Predators? Where do you stand on Barry Trotz? We'll take your thoughts on all that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Got the Rob rant coming up at 7:45. David Ubben from The Athletic will be with us at 8 o'clock. We'll get into some college football with him. Right now, talking Preds, taking your thoughts on Andrew Brunette. Where do you stand on Brunette as head coach of the Predators? Could a move be coming soon for the Predators? And what about Barry Trotz? What are your thoughts on the job that he's done as general manager to this point? A lot of your thoughts to get to. We will do that. Derek from Nolansville says, we didn't address the issue at center in the offseason. Instead, it got worse. I think most are already tuned out. I hate it, but I plan to dump my season tickets at the end of the year. Our franchise is lost and has no identity. Another texter says, Trotz has wasted space, tied up cap and term, and spent the capital with nothing to show for it. The way the contracts are, the way the team's playing, roster's constructed, the only move that would make the most sense is to fire Trotz, bring in a real general manager, and come up with a plan to fix this for the long term. A lot of people, a lot of people on the text line are seem like they're out on Trotz and Brunette, which I guess I somewhat expected.
Yeah, and I'm not shocked by that. Jackson both have to go. I think it's at some point it's probably Brunette this year, and I don't know. I have my doubts that Trotz is actually on a hot seat, but it's also hard to know because there is a different ownership situation here. We complain about Amy now all the time. It wasn't that long ago that we were complaining about, the Preds ownership group and how, none of them ever talk and Sean Henry speaks for them and all that stuff. And it's different now. So I don't know. I mean, we're going to find out moving forward about that from an ownership perspective.
I will say, if you're looking for a time in the schedule to fire a coach and to bring another one in or to have your interim take over, after Sweden's not a bad time. They played Friday in Sweden, Sunday in Sweden, and then they're off until that next Saturday. Now you got to obviously fly back to America. So there's some time and recovery that's involved there. But that's why I've known that there have been Predators fans either tweeting me or texting me over the past week about it, whether or not they're going to fire Brunette. And they're not doing it before Sweden. They're not going to fire their head coach and be like, well, all right, cool, go in Sweden. When they get back, if they get swept by Pittsburgh, and they will have lost 7 in a row at that point, and that would put them, if they lose both in regulation, they'd be 5-11-4. I mean, you could make a pretty good case that would be the time to do it.
Yeah, it would make sense. But like you said before, there's also been other times when it would have made sense. Didn't do it. So, but yeah, I mean,
I think at some point, though,
then you have some time and,
I understand Barry Trotz being patient. At some point, though,
it's the only answer.
You transition from patient to stubborn, and look, it's not working. And Andrew Brunette may end up being a great coach in this league for a long time. I've said it before. I like Brunette. I think he's a good coach. I hear him explain things about the way that he operates and what he's trying to get done out there, and it makes sense to me. I'm not a hockey coach, so you can take that for whatever it's worth. But I think he's a good coach. He's been a good coach all the way coming up. He did a good job his first year here, kind of navigating them through things. And right now, I think it's more than anything, whether you want to call him a bad coach, a good coach, whatever. Right now, it's pretty clear he's not the right coach, right? I mean, with the roster where it is and with him, it ain't working. It's not even coming close to working. So it's difficult for me to imagine that this is really just going to change all that much. And look, they could fire Andrew Brunette and still be really bad the rest of the year. Probably. I mean, they probably will be.
Yeah. So that's my question. Who is there? Will someone come in and be like, oh, that was the right coach?
Yeah, I don't know.
I have my doubts.
And if they fired, let's say it played out this way and they get swept by Pittsburgh and Sweden, and they come back and they decide that that's the time to move on from the head coach. Are they going to hire somebody who's out there and available? Are they letting, Luke Richardson be the interim head coach the rest of the year? Or some people around the league think Trotz is just going to come down from the press box and start coaching the team.
Yeah.
Is that going to happen at some point? So I don't know.
Ian's up for that.
What happens?
You're here for that.
I don't know what.
Oh, so here for that.
I don't know what the plan is when you fire Brunette at that point. I would be really interesting to see what they would do.
I mean, if Trotz, okay, so If Trotz actually did that, does that mean that he's like, you know what, I actually just want to coach and I'm not going to be the GM anymore? Let me coach.
I don't know.
You guys hire a GM.
I could be wrong. I don't think that's going to happen. I could be wrong. I mean, I maybe he just misses coaching. I don't know. I don't think that is going to happen.
If I were him at this point, I might be like, I think I like coaching better than GMing because GMing's not going well.
And every time we have a comment, like we've had like 4 or 5 people already bring up Pete DeBoer. Why would Pete DeBoer come?
He goes to places that are ready made to win.
Yeah, I don't know why Pete DeBoer, I think, is going to get hired by somebody else at some point here. Now, I will say the way that it ended with Dallas with him and what he did to his goaltender, I don't think goes over very well with players.
Didn't help himself.
So there would be some explaining that would have to go on, and he would have had to have learned from that. But like Pete DeBoer, I don't know why he would take this job based on where the Predators are right now.
I don't know why the Preds would go there. Yeah. If they did, I guess the only reason he would take it would be like he knows he hurt himself, and so he should take whatever job he can take at this point. But it doesn't follow the DeBoer pattern.
Let's head back to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Rob in Franklin to the program. Rob, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning. Great takes, guys. I appreciate it. I've got a call. If they put up 2 Swedish meatballs in the win column, they're gone against Pittsburgh. Like they will be, or Brune will be gone, and that opens up a question that we should be asking a little differently. The question we should be asking is who can develop younger players so that we actually keep them around. Fiala, where he's playing right now, I think he's playing in LA, just absolutely eats me alive at the fact that he's a top 6 forward, and somehow we didn't see any future in him or couldn't bring him into our program and envelop him. He was, unhappy on some of his positioning, but how did we not change a top 6 forward like that and bring him in? There's examples like that all over the place. So the question is how do you bring in somebody or look at somebody to bring in that develops very, very well, develops young players very, very well? And the other thing on Trotz, if we want to weigh in on Trotz, how many times do we have to get caught in contract situations where the player literally has hand over us? Stamkos has hand over us. Saros has hand over us. These are mistakes we've made in the past. These are mistakes that Poyle made in the past. So Trotz has not learned a thing by these hammered contracts that put hand in the hand of the player, and it's ridiculous. It's Poyle 2.0 for Trotz, bringing in older players that just don't materialize. Stamkos got to go. Saros, trade him for something.
Thank you, Rob. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Well,
Poyle never used to give out the movement.
Poyle used to never give out no movements. And the bottom line is for some of these guys, some of these negotiations, you got to do it. Like Philip Forsberg should probably have a no move.
The agents / players are winning that battle way more now.
Yeah. Now on Stamkos, I don't know. Was somebody else willing to give him a no move? Probably. I mean, Steven Stamkos. I also think with him, like, if you found the right situation, he'd probably waive it, right? Like, probably.
Yes.
The question is anybody going to take that contract? Like, you're probably going to have to retain on that contract if you trade him. So that's a whole different ball of wax. The Fiala thing.
He was good here.
He was good. And look, it's a different time.
It was like go for it move by Poyle.
They were trying to go for it. It didn't work. They were trying to go for it. But I remember the day they traded him. I remember where we were. We were sitting in the offices at Bridgestone Arena, and David Poyle had a press conference where he essentially said, yeah, Kevin Fiala is going to be really good, and we know that, but we need some help right now to win.
Yeah.
And it didn't work.
It was we need help down the middle with Mikhail Granlund.
Yeah. So, like, I've got less of a problem with that one, given the timing of when it all took place. The problem is, on top of all that, you just haven't drafted very well.
Well, that's
recently.
the thing. The problem really, Rob, is that there's your one example. They don't have other examples of guys who. So the other examples are they're just not good. Okay, bye.
Right, and some of that is like some of that they went through a period where they were trading away first-round picks to try to go for it, and some of that is like they just Philip Tomasino was a bust of a first-round pick. By the way, he's been in Pittsburgh. For everybody told me he's going to be the greatest player in the world, he kind of sucks in Pittsburgh too. Like he's not playing all that much. So he was a bust of a pick. I mean, you got nothing from Tolvanen, and Tolvanen has turned into an okay player. And Askarov
was
Seattle
a high pick.
Askarov was 11th overall.
Get really much from him.
And you didn't. I mean, So you've gone through a long stretch here, and hopefully they're out of it now. Like Matt Woods, good to see. Good to see a first-round pick coming here and looking like he might be pretty good. But the problem is not so much the trading of Fiala. It's you had nothing young coming in behind him that's panned out since then.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, like you're right. I mean, Boyle at that time he knew, like, you know, and I mean everybody did. Like he had produced here. It wasn't like, I mean, he had done. He was really good for that Stanley Cup final team, and he got hurt in the Blues series. But he was playing. He played great against the Blackhawks that series. So he was established, and it had his ups and downs, and like Redemption said, you know, some attitude stuff or whatever. But there just were so few stories like him of players who were that good, especially at forward.
Now, and I would also say this. I know this will probably make some people mad, but this is, you know, I know if you look at the numbers will suggest that the attendance is fine. And the attendance was good over the weekend. There have been a couple times this year where we've been on press row and we've looked around like, man, it's pretty light in here. I mean, it's not like pre-2007 you're worried about the teams moving light kind of days, but lighter than I remember in a while. And you know, we've had a couple people text us today talking about giving up season tickets. And look, it's your money. I'm not saying you can do whatever you want to with your money, but what do we talk about around here forever? Like everybody was saying, rebuild. And my thing the whole time was, all right, well, if they do that, are you going to go? Because the idea of losing out on season tickets and losing money and all that stuff to owners, not very appealing, which is why teams sometimes don't love going through rebuilds. And I know that they're not really in an intentional rebuild right now, but they're kind of in one. And you're seeing it, I think, a little bit.
I think by the end of this season, they're going to look a lot more like a rebuilding team.
Yeah, I think so. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. The Rob Rant coming up next. David Ubben from The Athletic at 8 o'clock. All that ahead. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Don't make me angry.
Sometimes you have to tell someone to pound sand.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
This is the Rob Rant. Now on Robby and Rexrode.
If Malik Willis finds a way to win this game on Sunday, I will never say another bad word about Matt LaFleur again in my life.
Yeah, it's been very, very choppy, I would say, as of late.
Greatest coach of all time. Always have loved that guy. And again, like I've always said, he's the guy for the job.
That's a great question, Bill.
This dude is an idiot.
Good for you for not flip-flopping at all on Matt LaFleur.
You'll never hear me say another bad word about him. I made a promise to you, and I intend to keep that promise.
Nope.
I've said all along, he is a great person.
I will remember.
There's
this.
not a lot of faith from
when
Rexrode,
the playoffs come. I will remember.
But I heard everybody already picked the Packers over us. Stop playing with us.
They told me this city was going to burn if we came in here and won the game. So I guess it is.
If they win this game, I will not criticize Matt LaFleur again.
Oops! Treasure trove. A treasure trove.
Oops. It's time for the Rob Rant. Brought to you by Functional Medicine of Tennessee. Rise up to better health. Check them out at functionalmedicineoftennessee.net.
That should get you.
I guess I just ran against myself.
Get you
I'm
going
a liar.
there.
A liar. I mean, I guess I did have the intention at the time of never criticizing him again, but that didn't last very long, did it?
What was the win that you were so happy about?
It was I was going to Lambeau, and Jordan Love had just gotten hurt. It was Malik Willis.
Yeah. Well, no, but this year there was a win he got where you're like, okay, I'm with you, Matt.
Oh, it's the second half Pittsburgh game.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. That's
right.
right.
Wow, looking good out here.
They did
good
look
coaching,
they
buddy.
did look pretty good.
Way to
Yeah,
coach him up.
They did. Take that, Aaron Rodgers.
Don't think they've won since. Good stuff.
I think you're
front.
right.
Good stuff. I mean, yeah, that's a very well done mashup by you in there. I should ran against myself. I'm a flip flopper. I'm a liar. I'm the worst.
Did you play that Henry Rollins?
You're the best.
Because I'm a liar.
But I'm sorry, he sucks. He does. Although the Titans, I've heard some Titans fans today. It wasn't going to be my rant, but it's kind of switched into that. I mean, I can't just not address that mashup that Ian put together.
I apologize for throwing.
No, it was good.
Out of
That's
whack.
fantastic.
It was just
That's
timely.
fan-
So.
Oh yeah, no, that's
Like Keith says, standing ovation to Ian. That's good stuff.
That's pretty good, man.
I had Ed texted earlier. Who's like, yeah, please, as a Titans fan, would love to be 5-3-1 right now and be complaining about the coach, which I understand.
But they are different teams.
I would say that they're very, very about as different as you could get in terms of the expectations for those two squads right
and
now.
the rosters, the talent.
Roster's a little bit different. All those things a little bit different there. So, I mean, my rant was going to be just kind of keeping it on the Preds theme. I don't think they've done this a lot so far this year. But every now and then it kind of creeps into some of their post-game answers of we're doing a lot of good things out there, and the process is really good. And it's like, well, man, I don't think anybody really cares about that right now. And I know it's an 82-game season, and you can't just after every game be like, well, we suck. I understand that. But I think look, I saw Ryan O'Reilly, I guess, apologized for his comments he made last week.
To himself?
No, well,
Ryan,
yeah.
I'm sorry. You've had 3 good years.
Yeah, so Greg Wyshynski came out with a story. I guess he talked to O'Reilly yesterday at Morningsgate, and O'Reilly was basically like, yeah, I probably should have kept that inside a little bit more, and because it highlights how much we're struggling right now, and I don't want to bring attention to that. And, Brady Shea was talking to Greg Wyshynski about, O'Reilly's probably a little bit too hard on himself, but he apologized for all that. It's like, well, I kind of found it refreshing. I mean, it's funny because Ryan O'Reilly's taking a shot at himself in there, but every now and then, and it's kind of what I've appreciated about Stamkos a lot, is it's okay every now and then just to be like, yeah, we're just not very good right now. And I don't think your fans really want to hear about the process being better when you're not winning any games and not scoring any goals.
So it all depends on who's talking, right?
A little bit.
There's probably a couple people who are going to give it to you straight, and then it's going to be a lot of coach speak, player speak. Well, we could tie this to LaFleur. I mean,
sure.
did we get some good LaFleur coach speak last night? Like, we did. Was he making excuses? Was he?
No, I mean, he did open the press conference for the first minute talking about how much he appreciates their effort. I'm like, will you shut up? The Monday Night Football against the Philadelphia Eagles. I would hope that there's a requisite level of effort that's involved in that there. Thank you. I appreciate it. But, I mean, he was asked about his job status, and he said, you're coaching for your job always. You're always coaching for your job. Clown. Absolutely.
You know, some other typical things like, oh, if I had that answer, you know, you wouldn't be asking that kind of question right now.
Clown.
That kind of stuff.
Clown. I mean, he has to be okay. He has to be at least a decent coach, right?
Again, yeah, he's a decent coach. Like he's done his win-loss record is good. He's probably a good coach, but
it's just time. Maybe
you reach a point where like, can you get over the hump or can you not? And I think he is doing his worst job with his best roster, which is not good.
Do you give him credit for Jordan Love's progress?
Sure. Yeah.
But maybe that's the thing. It's like you did a great job with Jordan Love. You got us to a certain point. Now bring in who?
I don't know. Like again, going back to, tying that to the Titans, there's not a lot of great options out there right now, right? I mean, you got some retread coaches that you could try again. I mean, I don't think the Packers are going to go out there and hire Mike McCarthy again. So I don't think you have to worry about that if you're a Titans fan and you want Mike McCarthy. Like, there's not a lot of great options out there. I mean, the likelihood is he is going to continue to be the coach. It just pisses me off.
But I in all seriousness, I think if that team, and Tucker Kraft is a big loss, but if that team, kind of just gets in the playoffs and loses right away, I think he could be in danger.
He could be. I mean, look, if he got fired, if I'm the Titans, I'd probably call. Like, he's a good coach.
Yeah.
But can you win big? Which is where this roster is with Green Bay. That's what people need to understand. There's a difference between being a good coach and being able to maximize a very, very talented roster and win.
For the Titans' purposes, again, looking at Jordan Love, how bad he looked when he had to get on the field early and what he has become. You could do worse probably than bringing Matt LaFleur to work with Cam Ward.
Exactly. Like, I'm not going to sit there and act like he's like the world's worst coach or anything, but he's doing a bad job this year with this team.
I hope he comes back to town and we can play these mashups for him. We'll just give him Robbie's greatest hits.
I don't care. I tell him right to his face. Hey, you're doing a terrible job this year.
I'm glad you're here and not coaching my team
By the
anymore.
way, you're doing really bad. Step it up. Step it up. That rant was kind of all over the place, huh?
That was good. That's fine. I like the grab bag rants.
615-737-1025. Our phone number. David Ubben from The Athletic will join us coming up next. We'll get into all things college football, Vanderbilt, and the college football playoff with David Ubben. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Tuesday morning, talking some college football. And to help us do that, we head to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in our friend David Ubben from The Athletic. David, good morning. How are you?
Morning, guys. I'm good. Thanks.
Appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning. David, I want to start on the Vanderbilt front. So they survive in overtime against Auburn this weekend. They're 8-2. They've got Kentucky coming up, and then a trip to Neyland to take on Tennessee at the end of the year. What do you make of kind of where they fit into the landscape right now in the college football playoff picture? And I guess your thoughts on their chances to get to 10-2 and maybe get in the college football playoff, knowing that Kentucky and Tennessee are what's standing in their way.
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately, I think it's pretty simple. You know, you lose either the next two games, it ain't happening. You win both, you're almost certainly in. There is some doubt because the resume is not the best, that maybe at 10-2 they get squeezed out. I'm just skeptical that an SEC team is going to be left out at 10-2. You know, they don't have any like headline-making wins, but they got some good ones. So that's kind of where I'm at, and I think there's definitely a chance. You know, if you end up on the right side of the bracket, and depending on how the conference champions sort out, because remember, the conference champions do not get those top four seeds. So, you know, there's a chance they could be hosting a game, you know, depending on how the next month sorts out, and that'd be pretty wild.
Well, I hear you. Yeah, that would be wild. I hear you on the 10-2 SEC team. I guess but like the question, you know, like right now, Austin Mock for us has, you know, like first five out, he's got Texas, then Oklahoma, then Vanderbilt. Like the 9-3 Texas that gets one more huge win in there because of their schedule, beat Vanderbilt, right? Like I guess that would be the one thing that I would look at that could be problematic. I mean, I'm generally with you. Like I think it's going to sort itself out that if they're 10-2, they're going to be in. And a win at Tennessee is a big deal, which I have my doubts they'll get actually. But if they do,
I mean, it's a big deal culturally, but it's probably not going to be a top 25 win if they win, because it probably knocks them out.
Well, I guess that's true. I mean, at the time, it will be a top 25 win, probably, right? As long as Tennessee takes care of business, wins at Florida, like they're right around the bottom. But I guess, you know, that's where it gets into also the committee, right, David? Like it's like I still believe, yeah, culturally sure, but also I think that Tennessee is a good team, and Tennessee at Tennessee is a good win, right? I think the committee would recognize that. Whether it technically counts as a top 25, I don't know. You tell me. Last week they're like, I mean, Mac Rhodes really was into telling us about all the film they watch. I mean, he's really into. I mean, we're looking at up the middle, and we're looking at like what the box safeties are tackling. I mean, it's like I have no idea what's going on with these people.
I don't know. I mean, if you want to impress Mac Rhodes, you got to make sure your color coordination is on point on game day. I can guarantee you that. But listen, I think you're right. I really think it is as simple as just beat, you know, Kentucky and Tennessee. I think the bigger question is if you can slide up the bracket and get to host. And so I think we'll have to see. But I'm like you. I think ultimately you're not going to trust everybody to take care of business in the next 3 weeks. You know, you got rivalry week. You got teams, you know, still able to lose. The ACC seems like they're playing hot potato. We could have there's a path, Joe, to a no-bid ACC.
Yes.
Are you aware of this?
Yes. So, I saw Ralph brought it up first. I'm like, oh my God, he's right.
Yes, it's probably not going to happen. But if you want to see it happen, you should buy some Blue Devils gear and start cheering on Duke. So, yeah.
So, David, what about the Heisman Trophy race here? Because you've got, you know, obviously Julian Sayin at Ohio State. You've got Mendoza with Indiana, Ty Simpson at Alabama. You know, what about Pavia? Like, where does he factor into that race? What do you make of how the Heisman race is shaping up as we're in November now?
Yeah, I mean, I think the numbers are okay. I think Pavia can play his way to New York City. I mean, if he has two, you know, I guess what he does against Kentucky is kind of irrelevant. If he has a big game, that would help his numbers. But beating Tennessee and being the reason they beat Tennessee, you know, carrying Vandy to a college football playoff bid might be enough to get a ticket to New York. I'm skeptical that he can do enough to win the whole thing. But we'll see, if Indiana stumbles. Like, if Julian Sayin has a couple slow games and, Mendoza gets rocked in the Big Ten championship game, then that probably changes things a little bit. We'll see if Ty Simpson and Alabama, if they lose the Iron Bowl, or again, if they have a bad game in the SEC championship, then that could change some things. So we'll see. There's a lot of football left. I think the biggest thing working in Pavia's favor is this is not a really strong Heisman class in general. There's nobody that anybody is like, well, clearly that guy, is better than everybody else, or, it's a pretty wide open field, and the bar is kind of low. I've been telling people all year, like, if Ashton Genty did this year what he did last year, this race had already be wrapped up. I think ultimately he's got to have some big games down the stretch, but he might need some help from the guys ahead of him.
Yeah, I gotta say, I agree that this is obviously it's an opportune year. I just like the best player, best team thing. I hate to dock like an Ohio State quarterback or an Alabama quarterback. I think they're both really good players, but just for having such an edge, and frankly, Mendoza, it's pretty clear that if you play quarterback for Curt Cignetti, you're probably going to have really good numbers and have a lot of answers out there that other players don't have, right? Like, if you want to look at it that way and say, look at the advantages those guys have, and then look at what this guy has done to carry freaking Vanderbilt to the playoff. Like, I was kind of out on him, but he has 891 yards, 8 touchdowns in the last 2 games. He completely saved them against Auburn. I don't know. I think you're right. There probably aren't enough people who, well, frankly, will even look that closely. I hate to say that about Heisman voters, but there's a million of them, but I do feel like he actually could have a case if I think the numbers have to be absurd and he has to do some special stuff. But you could make the case, bringing that team to the playoff versus people with all these advantages. Why not give it to the guy who carried a team?
Yeah, I'm not super thoughtful during the season about the Heisman. When it gets down to crunch time, I feel like I am. And my criteria, I look at, one, the production does matter to me. 2, are you the reason why your team is succeeding? I think that is really, really important to me, and that's a big reason why, Sayin hasn't been on my ballot all year. I think the defense first, and you're throwing to 2 NFL receivers, and the numbers are great, but he hasn't had to really do anything. They're not down 10-0, and I just don't think that it's the same thing with the Stetson Bennett thing, where people wanted to vote him up, and it's he's the 4th best player on his team. That to me. And then, of course, like I said, it has to pass the smell test if you tell me this is the best player in the country. And so that, with the Pavia piece, is sort of complicated, because obviously, he looks like a wrestler running around out there playing quarterback.
Yeah, he's not the best NFL prospect, but you can be the best college player.
And then there's sort of a amorphous element of, for me at least, of who made me say wow the most. And ultimately, Vanderbilt showing up in the bracket on Selection Sunday is the biggest wow that there can be. The numbers are okay. I definitely think he is clearly the reason why his team is succeeding. The production is okay, and we'll have to kind of see. I when we get down to it again, I think some of this is going to be how he looks in this couple games, and if he can beat Tennessee and give Vandy. Is that the biggest win for Vandy in school history if they win that game? You guys would know more than I would. I would say,
yeah, if it gets them to the playoff, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So, I think that would be a pretty huge closing argument for him. Championship week aside, so I think he'll be in the mix. I just think, again, it's so wide open as is. Nobody has really made that strong of a case. I think Ty Simpson's playing really, really good football in terms of what he's doing, and the fact that the defense is okay. It's not great, and they really don't have that much of a running game to speak of. I do think speaks to him, and the receiver group is pretty young, and Ryan Williams is not necessarily a world beater, although he's very talented. So I just think there's a lot of football left to play, and there's a lot of opportunity for a lot of guys to make some pretty convincing final arguments here in the last couple weeks.
All right, David. So is Lane Kiffin staying at Ole Miss, or is he going? And if he's going, where is he going?
I mean, I think there's a pretty compelling case for him to stay. I think Florida would be really attractive for him. I'm skeptical maybe that he would feel like he can be himself at LSU. And then obviously the president situation, the AD situation, that would give me pause. Like if somebody is hiring you and then that probably is not going to be your boss in like a year, that would make me nervous if I was him. And then, with Ole Miss, ultimately, what you're asking Lane Kiffin to do is go somewhere else and build something that's pretty similar to what he already has. Ole Miss, they were probably good enough to win the national championship last year. I'm not sure that they have the team this year, but like in terms of what you need, he's got a lot of what he needs there. And I think there's something to be said for having the capital that he has now. People will turn on you in a hurry. And so if I'm him, I'm thinking really hard about staying. But if I was a betting man, I'm betting we're going to see him, in a Gators visor this time next year.
Interesting. Well, as someone who now lives in Bill Belichick's neck of the woods, sort of, David, quietly, maybe they look like they've actually improved as a football team. Like there's actually some coaching that's going on. Like, are you feeling any differently about him right now than you did a month ago?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, it was so bad that there was only one way to go. And I did say, like, in September, when this was going off the rails, I was like, the surest test of kind of where this thing is what does this team look like in, November and late November? Are they improving? And I think obviously that is happening. That said, Syracuse is a mess. They lost Steve Angeli, and they have been sort of just trying to stay above float and failing since then. And like Stanford, like they're just not very good. You've got a lame duck coaching staff. You're sort of just there. So there's something to be said for winning games and beating Power 5 teams, Power 4 teams, which, this year Syracuse and Stanford are mostly in name only. So props to that. But like, I don't know. I mean, they should have beat Cal, but Cal is again kind of a weird team. So they definitely improved, and I think they deserve a lot of credit there. That said, they haven't actually done that much yet, so we'll see.
Well, David, great stuff as always, man. Really appreciate you taking time to be with us this morning. We will talk to you soon, my friend, and enjoy the rest of the college football season.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
David Ubben from The Athletic, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll react to what David had to say, get into Vanderbilt in the college football playoff picture coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Appreciate David Ubben for being with us in the last segment. Joe, he thinks it's pretty simple. Vanderbilt gets to 10-2, they're going to be in the college football playoff. If you're a Vanderbilt fan kind of looking at the picture right now, and again, we'll find out what the latest college football playoff rankings are tonight when they have their stupid show that they do every week. I'm interested to see where they are in the rankings tonight. If you're a Vanderbilt fan, what are you looking at around the country as you obviously have to take care of business yourself? What else are you hoping to happen around the country as the next few weeks unfold here before the college football playoff?
Well, you want is you like Ubben said, like the idea that the ACC, like Duke, gets in tiebreakers, wins the ACC title, and isn't one of the top 5 conference champs, so no ACC in the playoff. That's wild. But one ACC bid, that's what you want. One Big 12 bid, that's what you want. I think Texas Tech has established themselves as the best team. I mean, they are, that's a legit. They paid for a hell of a team. They've got a hell of a team. They lost the one game without their quarterback, but right now, like, for example, the projected bracket by Austin Mock for us at The Athletic, he's got BYU in as the 10 seed. There's a team to root against if you're a Vanderbilt fan. Get the Big 12 to the point where they're also just a one-bid league. Now, if Texas Tech were to be upset, in the Big 12 title game, that's where you can get screwed, right? But, you want BYU to lose another game. And frankly, really, you just and you don't want the Big 10 to get a third team, or to get a fourth team. The Big 10 pretty solid in there with Oregon winning at Iowa. And we know Ohio State and Indiana. I mean, they're going to play in the Big 10 title. They're going to be in. Oregon's going to be in. Is there a fourth Big 10 team that could come in and take a spot? Could Michigan, if they beat Ohio State, you're rooting like heck for Ohio State to just go handle business in Ann Arbor. Could USC sneak in there? You're rooting for them to, in fact, USC, Oregon play each other. You're rooting for Oregon against USC.
Yep.
So keep the Big 10 to 3. If you can get the ACC and the Big 12 to 2, okay, so that leaves you. So there's 6 spots, right? Yeah, the Big 10 would be 3, 1, that's 5. Your group of 5, there's 6. So that could leave. Am I doing my math right?
I believe so.
3,
yeah.
4, 5, 6.
Yeah.
So that could leave the SEC with 6 spots. Now, people would just absolutely raise hell around the country about that. But remember, last year, they got 3, and the SEC people raised hell. So, I mean, first of all, last year, to me, the SEC getting 3, I just, in case anybody in that committee is worried about perception, I mean, I think that helps. This is why we shouldn't have stupid auto bids. This is why the Big 10 commissioner / goofball Tony Petitti wants the 4 auto, because he doesn't have 4 teams that should be in the playoff. No, we need 4. We need 4 no matter what. No, you don't. But also, this is why the SEC doesn't want it, because the SEC could seriously have 6 teams. We know Bama, A&M, Georgia's solid now.
Yep.
Ole Miss is solid. Those 4 are solid. I mean, they're almost, crazy stuff could happen, but those 4 are solid. And then you have 3 more. You have Texas, Oklahoma, Vanderbilt.
Yep.
Now, according to Austin, Vanderbilt would be next in line after them. He doesn't have them as a first 5 out, but in terms of probability based on the scheduling, because Texas and Oklahoma have
Texas has Georgia this week, and they also have Texas A&M remaining.
What you're rooting for Vanderbilt, you're rooting for them to lose both. Get them out of there.
Yep.
They beat you, and that would be where it could get really interesting. Like I said, up in there, 9-3 Texas having beat you and really having throttled you for a lot of that day, and you came back and made it look better with the wins that they would have. Either of those wins is huge.
Yeah.
Versus you at 10-2. That could get dicey. And then especially, but again, even if that's the case, you both could get in as long as Oklahoma, because they have they're at Alabama this week. They lose at Alabama this week, they're out. So you're rooting for Alabama this week. I think enough, you look at all these things that can shake out. Some of them won't work in your favor, but they're not all going to work against you. And that's why I think I'm with Ubben. Like, if they go 10-2, I'm pretty confident they're in the field.
It was interesting. Did you hear Lane Kiffin going on his little soapbox, I guess, yesterday?
No.
About how, like, Texas A&M should be number 1, and it's kind of amazing that they're not number 1 based on I mean, they went up to Notre Dame and won on the road, and their metrics are the best in the country and all this other stuff.
Well, that was my column last week,
Yeah.
and Indiana fans really loved that one.
Well, he's like, what? And this is my biggest problem with the College Football Playoff Committee. And we've talked about this for years at this point, so it's not going to change as they move forward. It's like criteria matters in certain situations, and then all of a sudden it doesn't. And it matters one week, but then all of a sudden it changes as the next week comes on, which is just why this is such an imperfect way of doing things, deciding who's in the playoff by the committee. And by the way, frankly,
it is imperfect.
Like, if the committee's worried about perception, just put the best teams in, man. Like, that's the whole idea of this thing. But if it's 6 from the SEC, sorry, it's 6 from the SEC.
100%. But that's why, I mean, like last year, the fact that I think they got it right last year. You know, it was controversial, but I think they got it right because of the way Bama and Ole Miss screwed it up at the end. You know, I'm not saying the 3-loss team should never be in, but I think they got it right last year. And so, yeah, that could be getting it right this year. And I agree, it's imperfect. We're always going to complain about it. We complain every year about the NCAA basketball selection committee. I sure as hell don't want Tony Petitti's plan, where we're just going to do the auto bids thing, and the committee is just there to seed the field. I mean, I'd rather have human beings have common sense, again, like they did 2 years ago when everybody went nuts, but they were correct in keeping Florida State out because they were never going to do a damn thing in the playoff. Human beings did that. Good job. People, Ubben and everybody I work with is still mad about it. Like, no, they got it right. But yes, it's imperfect, and we'll have something to complain about tonight. Also, you know, on the Pavia front, a couple more things. It is interesting. I mean, I think it's an uphill battle. I have my doubts he'll actually win the thing. He should be in New York. There's some more stuff from Vanderbilt here. Vandy's 11th in points. They've played 6 of the top 50 teams in scoring defense: Texas, Bama, LSU, Missouri, Auburn, South Carolina. Indiana has faced 2, for example. Pavia is also 4th in passer rating and one of 2 players leading his team in passing yards and rushing yards, which is, of course, Haynes King would be the other one. I mean, you know, the numbers have never been really his huge friend here, but the last 2 weeks they are. So what if he has 2 more huge statistical games?
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, we will see.
Probably, like Ubben said, you're probably going to need a stumble somewhere. Like, you know, you're going to need like Mendoza to lose and look bad against Ohio State, but Ohio State to win that game because their defense dominates, and Sands, I think some people think that way. Like Sands, like, dude, come on. I mean, he's good, but like, how easy can it be? You have the best defense in the country and the best receivers in the country. Pretty good.
Pretty good. 615-737-1025. Our phone number, 615-737-1025. We will get back into our Titans head coaching conversation from earlier in the show. The Giants have fired Brian Daboll, 2 rookie quarterbacks dealing with head coaching changes earlier in their career. How big of a deal is it? And how does the Daboll news impact the Titans? We'll get into all that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. 615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. The YouTube chat flowing as well today on the program. Otis does not care about the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, I think he said that before. Like, stop complaining, man. I mean, the Heisman Trophy is one of the most – is the Heisman Trophy the most discussed individual award in sports?
Probably.
I mean, it's not, college football is the number 2 sport after the NFL, but I think the Heisman Trophy is more discussed than like the NFL MVP.
I would agree.
Like Cy Young. I mean, depending on your market and all that stuff, but yeah, it's just just like college football. Like it's been part of the fabric of the sports country for more than a century. So, that's part of it. It's just
by the way, there is a local player of interest that does have a chance to win it.
There is also that. Yes. Also, I think Brad from Clarksville on the text line, driven by WilsonCounty.com, he said Notre Dame dingbat, which I assume he was telling me, and I should have said this. Yes. Also, if you're a Vanderbilt fan, root for Pitt. Even though Pat Narduzzi is like, yeah, beat us by 100, I don't care.
That was Pat, would you say this game's a must-win for your program? Not really. I think we could lose 100 points, and as long as we win the ACC games, who cares?
Yep. He's like, they can beat us 110-10. I don't care. Now, I think Pitt
it's inspiring.
Yeah. I think Pitt, little Narduzzi.
Gamesmanship.
Maybe, little reverse psychology type thing. But they could beat them. I mean, Pitt at home, I think, has a shot. Their defense it's a feast or famine defense. Notre Dame's offense is really good. Pitt's offense, though, is going to, they're going to score points. So if you're a Vanderbilt fan, definitely root for that. If Notre Dame gets another loss, they will not be in the playoff. People are mad about where they're ranked, and I agree they're ranked too high for what they've done, for sure. Yes. But one more loss, and then you can get them out of the 2. So that was, by the way, I was going through all the 6. I didn't include them. That's why he said Notre Dame dingbat.
So it'd be 5.
I get it.
Yeah.
So it'd be 5 SEC if Notre Dame's in. Get them out of the picture, and half the field could be SEC. Oh, how exciting.
I'm sure people would love it. Let's head to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Trey to the program. Trey, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning. Hey, no problem. Hey, thank y'all for taking my call. Hey, I want to say that I just wanted to talk about Vanderbilt and the Tennessee game. That game really scares me because, for one, Vanderbilt going into a hostile, environment at Neyland. And number 2, they can't afford to go down in that game. I know they like to go down and come back, but they cannot go down in that game because if they go down, they probably will get dragged. And I don't want to see them get dragged, so they're going to have to play up to the competition. They can't play to the competition of a South Carolina or Ole Miss. They got to play up to the competition of the Tennessee Volunteers. And I'm optimistic, but it's going to be a tough game. And I just want to know what y'all think about it. And I love y'all. Y'all have a good day, okay?
Thank you, Trey. Appreciate it. I don't know that Ole Miss is the best example now. They're pretty good.
Yeah, Ole Miss would probably be a higher level than Tennessee right now.
They would be a higher level. Look, first off, I don't think you're going to have to worry about you may have to worry about plenty of things if you're a Vanderbilt fan of the Tennessee game. Like, can your defense stop them at all is probably at the top of that list. But the intensity level and the readiness to play, I don't think you're going to have to worry about in that one.
No, in fact, I want to say, I don't know if Big Joe is sunning himself in Key West. Is that? But I want to say he said something yesterday about like Tennessee might just have be dead for that game yesterday. I'm like, dude, come on. I mean, maybe Boo Carter because he doesn't.
He's got 1 foot out the door already.
Yeah. But no, Tennessee. You think those guys?
They'll be ready to play.
They will be absolutely ready to play. They are 100% in on shutting up Diego Pavia, just like basically every team that plays him.
Yeah,
and certainly they are. I mean,
doesn't work out very well.
Running Tennessee, during the off season, they're the intensity level of that game should not be any sort of conversation.
So, Joe, Brian Daboll fired by the New York Giants, which now means that both Cam Ward and Jackson Dart, early in their careers, are dealing with a coaching change and new play callers on the horizon. Ward already has a new play caller, and he'll be on number 3 by the time they hire the next head coach coming up here. So there's that to deal with. We talked about it earlier. How big of a deal is that for the young quarterback? I mean, if you look recently, Caleb Williams had his coach fired last year around Thanksgiving time, and it seems to be working out pretty well for him in year 2 with year 1 under Ben Johnson. Drake May had his coach fired last year. Vrabel's come in. They're 8-2, and depending on where you look, Drake May is the co-favorite to win the NFL MVP award right now. So it can work if you change a head coach and you make the right hire in the immediate aftermath of it. We'll see if the Titans can do that. What do you make of the Daboll firing? What this means for Dart and Ward, who are now in very similar situations? And I don't know, like, does Daboll being available, not as a head coach, but maybe as an OC, factor into things for the Tennessee Titans?
Yeah. wanted to trade for Cam Ward, so he can come coach Cam Ward and be Robert Saleh's DC. See, I never – it's like some of these things you just put people together, and then maybe there's like some history. Like at some point down the road, somebody, Liam Cohen and Robert Saleh, that'd be a great pairing. But it's like, no, probably not. I don't know of any Saleh-Daboll issues. Now, they were the two New York head coaches.
Daboll's an intense guy.
Going head-to-head. Yeah, and so is Saleh. But, yeah, it's obviously it's another example of, like you said, the young quarterback immediately having to change things over. But if you make the right choice, then that can be a good thing for the young quarterback. So that's what the Titans are charged with doing. There are definitely going to be, I think, some good OC candidates if the Titans don't go the way of, the head coach who is his own OC. And I don't think they will. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to do I guess I should say, I guess I say that, but I suppose you could technically say that Nagy, Arthur Smith, and McCarthy are that, right? Like, I guess. But I don't know. I feel like the Titans want to get someone more like Vrabel in here.
Yeah.
Which is funny. And maybe I'm wrong, but that's just what I think that they're going to do, which again, I think Saleh is like the obvious choice if that's what your goal is. But you got definitely some OC possibilities if that is what you do. Mike McDaniel, I think, will be out there too.
One texter said Cam Ward's top 2 NFL coaches are already fired in midseason. Do not let him pick the next coach. He goes back to the Fortnite stream where he was naming, his top 5 wide receivers and
Traylon Burks,
running backs.
Top 2.
The coaches came up. He said, this is the quote from the quote. I'm not naming the top 5, but I'm naming 5 head coaches that I like. Number 1, Brian Callahan. Number 2, Stefanski. Number 3, Daboll. Number 4, Pete Carroll. Number 5, Aaron Glenn. 2 of the 5.
Okay.
Gone. And we'll see. Number 2 could be gone too.
Jeez, man. And Pete Carroll, too. This is like the curse. King Midas in reverse here from Cam Ward.
We're not going to consult you at all on the next head coach.
You know who I really like? Brian Kelly's doing a hell of a job down there at LSU. I think he's winning the Natty this year.
Bill Belichick doing a great job down there in North Carolina. Good stuff.
I forgot that part of it. I remembered the Traylon Burks. Didn't he say like a top 2 receiver?
It's top 5. Yeah.
Top 5 receiver. Yeah, Traylon Burks. He had some big plays last week.
Hey, Pete Carroll had all those guys had like top 3 picks in the draft. He's just covering his bases.
Oh, yeah, people he had talked to who.
Yeah, he's like, I actually talked to this guy.
Actually, I've spoken with all of these people.
Yeah. There's only 5 guys who tried to, pick me in the draft, so I'll pick them.
Indy Ben says both of the quarterbacks you listed, talking about Caleb Williams and Drake May, are much better than Cam Ward and were much better prospects. That's from Indy Ben on the text line.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I think that we can all agree on that. We talked about that about 10,000 times. Indy Ben, where were you? You just cherry picking things here? No, I mean, that's true. But again, I think your point in bringing this up is that sometimes it can work in your favor to do this.
People always act like if you fire the head coach early in the quarterback's career that you're just dooming the quarterback and that the quarterback's totally screwed if that's what you do. And I'm just here to tell you that while it's not ideal, there are 2 very recent examples that seem to be working out very well in the NFL of quarterbacks who are rookies who at different stages had their coaches fired and have played pretty well this year.
And even though, yes, they are good prospects, they're better prospects, they also, I think we can all objectively say their situations have improved. Ben Johnson's an improvement. It's a better situation for Caleb Williams. And McDaniels with Vrabel as head coach seems to be great for Drake May. It seems to be a great combination of, the Vrabel, come here, boy, let me hit you and throw you in the locker. And then, McDaniels, who, hey, whenever he's coordinating offense in New England, he's a genius.
Yep.
He's just a turd everywhere else, but just keep him up in Foxborough.
615-737-1025. Our phone number. More of your thoughts to get to on the NFL head coaching Cam Ward front. We will get into more of that coming up next. 615-737-1025. Robby and Rexrode 1025 The Game. Final segment of the day, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game, taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Indy Ben catching some strays every time he comments. Him and Trey both. Indy Ben and Trey catching a lot of strays on the text line. on the YouTube chat over the last few days.
Dustin says, Indy Ben's such a damn genius. Well, we all pretty much have a 0 football IQ as Titans fans. By the way, I was disappointed we didn't hear from Chad today.
Yeah.
Robbie. For Chad. And for anybody who missed it yesterday, Chad called us up right away. He's giving us some early calls, but he called anyone who doesn't realize they must get Mendoza has a 0 football IQ. Is that right?
That is
zero.
Zero.
Just saying. My guy Dane Brugler, friend of the show, just put out his top 50. Fernando Mendoza is not his top quarterback, so I'm just saying. Maybe
I agree with
let's let some things play out. He has Ty Simpson as a higher prospect as number 2 on the top 50 with Mendoza at number 7. And by the way,
0.0.
Nice little Dean Wormer there. I didn't realize this, but he actually had Mendoza number 20 coming into the season. That's
pretty good.
That's pretty good intel because Mendoza snuck up on some people. But we'll see. And Indy Ben, yeah, you're a little bit. You deserve a little bit of crap every now and then. Your team's doing great. You should be happy.
I mean, is Jonathan Taylor?
Oh, God,
is Jonathan Taylor going to be in serious consideration for NFL MVP?
Well, he'll get like Offensive Player of the Year, which is the non-quarterback consolation prize. But after what he did last
he's number 3
game,
on the list right now.
Okay, I mean, after what he did last game, it is kind of a. So let's see if we can piss off Otis and talk about another individual award. It is kind of the MVP this year is a little bit not obvious, right? Like, and some of the not usual suspects.
Co-favorites are May and Stafford.
Yeah, Drake May and Matthew Stafford.
Yeah.
I mean, that tells me that like anybody could rise up here in the last few weeks and grab it.
Jonathan Taylor's number 3. This is on FanDuel. Mahomes is 4. Allen is 5. And guess who's at number 6? Sammy D. Sam Darnold. Number 6 on the MVP odds right now.
Yeah, he's pretty good. So when we're all sitting here saying, "Oh, that Mike Borgonzi, love that guy," just keep in mind Sam Darnold, and keep in mind Cam Ward, and a lot of things to find out still.
A lot of things to find out still. And again, I said earlier in the show, the play caller, the firing the head coach early in the quarterback's tenure, not ideal. But if you make the right hire here for the next head coach, it doesn't really matter, right? Like if you hire the right guy, nobody's going to care that you fired Brian Callahan, 6 games into Cam Ward's career or whatever it was.
Right?
Can you hire the right guy? That's it. It's pretty hard to me, Joe, to overstate how important this hire is for this franchise. They've had so much going wrong. They've had so much that they've just totally screwed up over the last few years. You've drafted a quarterback number 1 overall, and I think up and down is probably a kind way to describe the way that it's gone so far with him this year. You've got to find a way to make him hit, and the next head coach is going to play a pivotal role in that. And if you strike out and you don't hire the right coach, well, then all of a sudden, Joe, we're right back in a cycle where you're probably going to be looking for another quarterback. You're probably trying to hire another general manager. And eventually you're hiring another head coach at that point. Like it is crucial that, in my opinion, Borgonzi, but whoever it is involved hiring this next head coach, get it right.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's and if you do, then like you said, then it's fine. It's fine. You made the switch. I mean, I feel like maybe if you're going to do something like this, again, same thing with Caleb, same thing with Drake. You do it right away. And it's like basic, as opposed to maybe 2-3 years in would be more disruptive. I don't know. And there's a lot of how many quarterbacks in this league, who are great quarterbacks in this league or really good quarterbacks in this league have had to deal with, coaching changes. Justin Herbert is one of those guys. He's had multiple guys. Obviously, Maine Williams, you mentioned him.
They fired Wisenhunt right out from underneath Marcus.
That is
right
true.
Underneath him.
They ruined him
next year. Had the best year of his career.
Took away the
just saying.
whiz. Yeah. Then you get the people who've been given up on, like Baker and all those guys at Darnold. But
yeah.
I mean, Stafford had multiple coaches in Detroit.
It's not the automatic death sentence that some people make it out to be.
Right. No. Again, just like to me, it's kind of, I kind of put it in the same discussion point as just the idea of ruining the quarterback. I'm not saying it's not possible. I think it is possible, But I think there are people, again, I've heard Stilly say this about Marcus. He still says it. The Titans ruined him. Marcus just wasn't that good. We found out. He's a backup. He's a good backup. That's what he is. And so I think there's a lot of quarterbacks who maybe they would even say it themselves, or other fans would say it. They got ruined. Well, no, or did we just find out that they weren't good enough? I think 95% of the time we found out they aren't good enough. If you go look at some of the great quarterbacks who went through a lot of crap and still were great, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue that, well, iron sharpens iron.
Yeah. By the way,
or whatever cliche you want to apply to it.
Speaking of backup quarterbacks, and I apologize to our listeners for it taking me this long to really discuss it this week. There's been a lot going on. Did you see my guy Davis Mills, way he played over the weekend?
Yeah. No stretch that he can. Yeah.
27 of 45, 292 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick for Davis Mills.
Comeback win.
Win.
Extending his career as we speak.
Yes. You haven't had a chance to hit that greatest hit in a while, man.
I did. I saw. Honestly, I've not paid enough attention to the Texans since the Titans played him because, frankly, who cares? But I forgot he was playing right now. So then I saw the highlights the other day, and I was like, "Man, look at that neck! It's unbelievable. That neck is it's getting bigger."
We'll probably see Stroud. I would think he'd probably get out of concussion protocol, right? After 1 week.
Although I may sit there and play it safe and just let Davis get in there and sling it around a little bit.
Houston fans should it's like when you go to the zoo and you feed, you have you can feed the giraffes, you reach out a big thing of lettuce or something. Just bring that to the stadium.
This guy's neck is unbelievable. I'll say though too, if you go look at Ryan Tannehill's Pro Football Reference page right now, he's got a neck on him too. Davis Mills, Ryan Tannehill, Mike Glennon. Got a neck on him.
I never really thought of Tannehill as having a big. I mean, he can't compare to Davis Mills.
Davis Mills hard, but go look at Tannehill's Pro Football Reference picture.
Okay.
It's got a good neck on there.
Meanwhile, Diego Pavia has no neck. Is that going to hurt him?
I don't know.
In the draft process,
do they measure
see over the O-line there?
Do they measure neck size at the NFL Combine?
I don't know.
I mean, if so, Davis Mills would have been a first-round pick.
That's a good point. By the way, measuring cheek size.
There will never be an offensive line that this guy can't see over, ever.
Speaking of the Texans, it's the Titans play him this week.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah. I was like, hey, we were looking at the NFL schedule during the break. I was like, hey, the Titans play the Texans this week.
The Titans play. They have a game.
A home game.
Yeah.
Home.
Yeah, it's at home too. Wow.
Houston's defense is playing well.
We'll dig in. Fired up. And we'll dig in on that matchup tomorrow. PK being here, we will get hot and heavy in that big matchup.
Yeah, man.
Titans and Texans. Yeesh. But hey, we are straddling the line. We're threading the needle of not really talking about Titans playing football because they're so bad at it, but also still not talking about the draft.
Yeah.
I'd say we're winning right now.
It's been pretty good stuff. And as I said earlier, we have another 2 months of discussing Titans head coaching search.
Yeah.
Before anything really happens.
Yeah.
Get excited.
Should we? I mean, we have had no hesitation talking about the coaching search. Should we be trying to not?
No, I'm good with it.
Okay.
It's the most important thing going on with the team right now.
Yeah.
The head coaching search.
The players are going to be drafted are important too.
It's true. It's true.
We'll
Maybe
wait.
we'll get into all of it.
We'll try to wait.
That does it for us today. Next Man Up with Jake Lyman coming up next. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.